Birds are singing, plants are flowering, and the sun is shining again. It's spring, and during this season, a lot of us might feel this way, that we can't help but falling in love. So this is exactly the song that we are going to learn today, Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. And let's get started right away. If we look at the sheet music of the song, and you can find it below in the description, we will see that this song is written in D major. And that means that we have to play a D major scale before we start practicing the song. The D major scale goes like this. D, first finger, high second, A, 1, high second, 3. If we would go down on the D major scale further than the D, it would look like this. Same notes downward. And on the G it would be high third finger, high second finger, and first finger. And these are also the notes that we will be using in this song. So we have to use a high third finger on G and a low third finger on D and A, or a normal third finger. And we play a high second finger each time. So keep this in mind when practicing the song. Now let's start with the first bar. This is easy, it's just an open D string, and then we are playing the fourth finger, and then the D string again. The fourth finger can be a bit tricky. Make sure to keep your hand very close to the string and revolve the weight around your hand on the fourth finger. So don't feel like you have to push it upwards, but actually just find a comfortable position for it. If you cannot use the fourth finger yet, you can also use an open string each time instead of the fourth finger. But the fourth finger can sound very nice, and it can be very useful in your practice. So if you can use it, use it. We are counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So we have D, 4, D, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, we are playing first finger on G, up bow, second finger on G, high third, fourth finger on G, or open D string, whatever you prefer. And here we have 1, 2, 3. And this is played in the triplet rhythm. And in the triplet rhythm, our bow strokes are also always the same size. So basically every note should have the same amount of bow. And this is to make sure that you actually play every note in the same note length. So we don't want to hear T, 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 T. So not this. But it is really 1, 2, 3. So all notes have the same length. After that, then this part is repeating itself. So let's go to the second line, and we see a lot of notes are repeating. All the notes from the first line are repeating, so it's basically just exactly the same line. So play that again. And normally we aren't playing like da 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 da. You know, it is not all the same loudness. So if you would like to add some musicality, start soft. Get a bit louder. And a bit softer again. So it's like talking. We start our sentence like this, then we talk a bit more, and then we talk a little bit less loud. So you really want to phrase that beautifully. So soft, louder, 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 louder. Softer again. Soft. Louder. Loudest. Loudest. Softer. Now in the third line we are getting to the most tricky part of the song. And for this one, it is actually very useful if you've practiced your arpeggios, because here we practice a lot of string changing. And if you want to practice arpeggios, just look for Violin Inspiration Arpeggios and you will find my practice tips on it on my website. We are starting on the high third finger on the G string. Then we are moving to the second finger on D, and then to the open A string. Then the second finger on A. Let's do that again. High 3, second finger on D, A, second finger on A. After that we end with the first finger. If we change strings like this, it might help to practice only the string changing first, without the finger. As you can see, we first play on the G, then on the D, and then on the A. 3 notes. And that pattern is repeating 3 times. If you can do it on an open string, now you can add your fingers. If you add your fingers, make sure to already place your second finger when you place your third finger. That makes it easier. So place your third finger and your second finger on the string at the same time and play 3, 2, open A string. And now remove the second and play 2 on A. Because you don't want to be placing your finger on the moment you have to play them. Because then this type of sound happens. And that doesn't sound just as nice. Now let's have a look at the bow distribution. We start on the lower part of the bow with small bow strokes and then 1 long bow stroke. Then we are on the upper part and we repeat the same pattern, short bow strokes 4, and then long bow stroke, and then again short bow stroke. And the last bow stroke, the third bar of the third line, we are playing it until the middle. So save your bow. Make sure that you don't play all the way until the end, because so that you have enough bow left for the last note of the third line, the G, or the third finger on the D string. Okay, let's have a look at that. Short bow stroke, long, short, long, play until the middle. So very slow bow, and then 4, 4, 2, 4, 2, 3, and you will have enough space for the third finger. Now we are repeating, in the fourth line, we are repeating the first line again. We have already practiced that before. After that, fifth line, again, great, the same as in the third line. So again, this pattern with the arpeggio. Play until the middle. And then again, we are repeating the first line. So as you can see, this song is very long, but it repeats the same patterns all the time. So that makes it a lot easier. In the last line, we are repeating just the last phrase of the last part of the first line. So as you can see, if you have a look at the bar number 36, 37, 38, the end of 38 and the beginning of 39, you can see that that is exactly the same as bar 42 and 43. So you are just playing that same pattern twice. Normally in music, if we play the same pattern twice, we try to play it in a different way the second time. So maybe the first time you can play it a bit louder. And then the second time softer. In the last 3 notes you are slowing down. And the last note, you stay on that note for as long as you want. Above the note you can see the fermata sign. And that basically means play the notes for as long as you want. So the last 3 notes I recommend to slow down, and then the last note you can play it as long as you think is beautiful. So this was my tutorial for Can't Help Falling in Love. If you think it was helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Please remember that before practicing with this tutorial, practice your D major scale. You can download it on my website. The link is below in the description to my skill blog post where I share the D major scale. Next to that, also make sure that on the moment that you're practicing the song, first start with learning the notes correctly. Then also make sure to add the bowings, and after that, only after, add the dynamics of the song. So don't directly start to do everything at the same time. First just learn the notes, then try to use the proper bowings, and then you can add the dynamics, like getting louder and softer. I hope that this tutorial helped you, and if you would like to see more of these tutorials, please click the subscribe button below my video to follow along with my weekly violin lessons on this channel. Also, if you are interested, I also have an online violin school for adult beginners called Julia's Violin Academy. If you wish to learn the violin with a step-by-step plan, with feedback, so one-on-one feedback on your playing videos and weekly Zoom classes, this might be something for you. Just have a look in my description to read more about Julia's Violin Academy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week for my next lesson. Bye bye!